In this demonstration, I'm going to provide an overview on how to configure network settings on a DXi V-Series virtual appliance. Although a DXi V1000 virtual appliance is used in this demonstration, the main steps are the same for a DXi V4000. When you initially installed your DXi V-Series virtual appliance, you were required to configure basic network settings such as the system IP address, netmask, and gateway. Or if your network uses DHCP to assign IP addresses, then these settings were configured automatically. Depending on your network requirements, you may need to modify settings or configure additional settings such as jumbo frames, IP subnets, and more. The network settings that we're going to cover in this video demonstration are documented in the Quantum DXi V-Series User's Guide. Make sure to refer to the guide for step-by-step procedures for all tasks described in this video. Also, check with your network administrator before making any changes to your system's network settings. Once you've logged into the system, navigate to the networking page by selecting Configuration, System, then select Networking. The networking page is divided into three sections: General, IP address configuration, and Ethernet port back panel locations. The General section is where you can configure or modify the system host name, default gateway, and more. In this example, DHCP is used to assign IP addresses. With a DHCP, the default gateway and DNS IP addresses are set by the DHCP server and cannot be changed. In the IP address configuration section, you'll find bonding details, interface details, an IP address table, as well as routing details. If any of these subsections do not display, click the Show link. Bonding details is where you can configure bonded interfaces and bonding modes. Note that Quantum does not support bonding virtual Ethernet ports on a DXi V1000 at this time, even though the network page will not prevent configuring a bonded interface. The Interface Details subsection will provide you a host of information regarding Ethernet ports 0, 1, 2, and 3. The table allows you to enable or disable DHCP for each interface, view the link speed for a particular port, as well as configure jumbo frames. Note that by default, Ethernet ports 0 and 1 are always reported as 1 gigabit Ethernet. Ethernet ports 2 and 3 are always reported as 10 gigabit Ethernet. However, the actual link speed is determined by the physical ports on the host ESXi server. As previously mentioned, the DXi V1000 supports DHCP for automatic configuration of IP addresses. Select the checkbox next to a particular port to enable DHCP for that specific interface. Or, clear the checkbox if you want to disable DHCP and assign a static IP address. I want to assign a static IP address to the Ethernet 0 interface, so I'm going to clear the DHCP checkbox. If your environment requires you to enable jumbo frames for the system, change the frame size from 1500 to 9000. Why enable jumbo frames? Enabling jumbo frames improves Ethernet performance by increasing the data payload in a single Ethernet frame for greater transmission speeds. When enabling jumbo frames, make sure that all devices in the path are set to the same MTU size. One such device would be an Ethernet switch. For example, if the MTU size is set to 9000 on the DXi V1000, the Ethernet switch must also be set to 9000. To temporarily save your changes, click Update. However, this does not apply the new network settings to the systems. Click Undo if you want to revert back to the settings that were last applied to the system. After clicking Update, you'll notice an Action Required message at the top of the page. This message will go away when we apply the settings at the bottom of the page. In the IP address table, you can add one or more IP address subnets, configure VLAN tag IDs, select which traffic types are allowed for each interface, and more. Earlier, I disabled DHCP for the Ethernet 0 interface. Here, I can add a static IP address, netmask, and gateway to the interface. A maximum of 10 IP addresses are allowed per interface. All IP addresses in the IP address table, whether added or modified, must be valid and unique, and must have a valid gateway and netmask. If DHCP is enabled for the interface, you cannot specify network information. Instead, all IP address information is automatically assigned by the DHCP server. If your physical network is segmented into smaller virtual local area networks, you can assign a VLAN tag ID to an interface. Consult with your network administrator for the appropriate VLAN tag ID information. Make sure to verify that any other devices in the path, such as the switch port connected to the DXi V1000, are configured with the same VLAN tag ID. You can also designate the traffic types allowed for each interface subnet. Traffic types are management, replication, data, and the final option of any, which allows all traffic types on the interface. When selecting the allowed traffic types, at least one interface subnet must allow management traffic. If the DXi V1000 is configured for source or target replication, configure at least one interface to allow replication traffic. Again, to temporarily save your changes, click Update. Next is routing details. Some network configurations require that you specify routing details for an interface. Refer to the user's guide for information and examples on configuring interface routing. Click Apply to apply any new configuration settings. You can also click Reset to revert back to the last applied settings. The next page is essentially a confirmation page of the new settings. Click Yes to apply the settings. The system now needs to reboot to apply the settings. It will take approximately 15 minutes for the system to reboot. In this demonstration, we went through the network configuration options available in a DXi V-Series virtual appliance. For step-by-step network configuration procedures, always refer to the user's guide or online help. You can access the user's guide and other how-to video resources by going to quantum.com/DXiV-Series docs. For standard edition customers, go to quantum.com/forumv.